Hello and welcome back to the Making the Brand podcast. If you've been listening to this show for a while, you know that boy bands are a big part of it. Making the band is what inspired the name of this show. So, in the spirit of that, I am super excited to have a fellow fangirl, a fangirl of a different kind because we've determined we can coexist. I am excited to welcome Liz Wilcox to the show, a diehard NSYNC fan. Hello, Liz.
Hey, oh my gosh, I feel like I finally made it in life. I've made it to making the brand. Y'all, when I first heard this podcast and I first found Brienne and all her amazing like boy band fangirl-esque like universe, I was like, oh my gosh, this is like my sister from another mister. I'm so excited. So this is awesome. I'm so excited. Okay,
We're
I'm gonna
gonna
stop nerding out now.
No, we're gonna have a lot of fun. And speaking of that, we cross paths thanks to a common friend that we have, Danielle Spurge Swavely, and her company, the Merriweather Council. So this has been a long time coming where we've had to connect and discuss because I know one, you're a diehard NSYNC fan, but you also have incredible expertise in email marketing and email conversions and all those things that we're going to get into today. In fact, you call yourself the fresh princess of email, which is so kind of 90s tastic. We're just
Yeah.
meant to chat today. It's going to be awesome.
Yeah, I am so excited. And yeah, I just freaking love email. Like I call it electronic mail, right? Like very 90s
Yes.
style. I You'll never meet anyone more passionate about electronic mail. So I'm ready to answer any and all questions.
Awesome. Well, first, I want to learn more about the NSYNC angle of everything because I'm sure you've been a fan forever, but having them be such a big part of your online presence so openly, I think is something that we both can relate to with putting boy bands at the forefront of our brands and kind of embracing that unapologetically. So, how did that work? Did you always express that side of your business and show that part of your personality, or was there a little more thought that went into it?
Yeah, so actually I did not. So lizwilcox.com, NSYNC newsletters, all this stuff. This is actually my third business. My very first business was an RV travel blog, and this is where I got really good at email marketing and where I realized, the more personalized you made email and the more you gave personality and invested in your people, the more you would get in return as far as newsletters goes. But RV travel, the majority of my audience, the majority of people in my newsletter were men in their 60s. I don't know about you, but I don't think a lot of men in their 60s love NSYNC or the Fresh Prince or not, anything 90s as much as, me and Brienne. So after a few years, I just started realizing that there were certain parts of me that couldn't be as loud as I wanted to. And if you're, catching the replay of this live, or I mean, even if you're listening, you can probably tell I've got a lot of personality. I'm not one of those people to mute myself. If you go to my website, you'll be like, whoa, how did she ever not be this Liz Wilcox? And I
Right.
was still, of course, myself, but there were certain parts of me that I knew were completely irrelevant for my audience. And so, instead of talking about NSYNC, maybe I was talking about, ELO or, ACDC or something. And while those are, those are great artists, it wasn't my time. Right. And so I knew when I sold that business and I went all in with email and lizwilcox.com and building a more personal brand, I wanted to, number one, highlight Liz and all the things Liz loves. And also, I wanted to attract people from that same era. And I wanted to, especially with email can seem so complicated. It can feel like this knot you're never going to be able to untangle. I wanted people to feel good. And what makes people feel better than a good old boy band? Honest to God, hand to God, I can't think of anything else.
Me neither.
Even, and and going back to a simpler time. I know when I was in love with NSYNC as a kid, yeah, of course, life felt complicated, but it really wasn't, not the way that life is now. And so I find even when people can't, oh, I was more New Kids on the Block era, or even I have some people that say, oh, my definition of a boy band is the Beatles. Like, but they're still relating it and they're still going back to that simpler time, when life was just about, who was the cutest, or, battle of the boy bands or whatever. And when I can put people into that mindset, and, when I can use nostalgia as a way to relax people, to get them to talk about what is seemingly a complicated or boring topic, that's when like true, we'll say, five-part harmony can exist and everything
Yes.
starts popping off for people.
So true. And even just for yourself, it's probably so much easier to express yourself this way and to feel like you're being who you truly are. I've found it to be really liberating to not, try to present myself as this marketer, this professor, this, freelancer. Like, no, I'm also a fangirl. This is my personality. I'm going to let this shine. That's really the only way I know how to communicate, because anything else is going to be is going to be manufactured and just not me. So, yeah, I think it's a win-win on so many levels.
Yeah, and I wanted to attract like a lot of people in my field and, online business and digital marketing, attract a lot of other online business and digital marketing folks. But I wanted to go back to, where I started, which was B2C. It was the majority of my people didn't even know what a digital product was. That was my number one objection. I don't know
Mhm.
what an ebook is. I've never heard of an online course. And so I knew, obviously I'm not the only person out there that is attracting those kinds of people and has to overcome those objections. Um, and so I knew I also wanted to, attract that very B2C type of person. And again, it can feel really complicated. So bringing it to this fun space and talking, or not talking like a marketer, talking like just this girl who, is still living in 1999, but somehow also knows something I don't know, makes me so much more relatable. And I get so many people on my list that I actually really, really like and can really, really help, right? Have you found that you attract a lot of, you attract a diverse crowd?
I have, yeah. I questioned it. I was like, am I only gonna attract boy band fangirls if I lean into this? But I think,
Yeah,
first of all, I think boy bands are like a universal language. I think everyone loves them deep down. But
correct.
um
She's correct, folks.
yes. But yeah, I found the opposite, like people who, maybe are into AC/DC or other genres of music, like still, um, I think appreciated this side of my personality, or could understand loving something that much and wanting to talk about it constantly. So that's been a nice surprise.
That's
So
awesome. Yeah, I just find that, within my uh, email list and my audience, there's so many different kinds of businesses. And I think that's just simply because, you and me, we provide a safe place to just be yourself, where marketers tend to sound like marketers and it's this very intimidating thing. And when you can just lean into yourself, you can be an example of what's possible for these other brands and businesses. And that tends to attract. So if you're into boy bands, give it a go. People love it.
yeah. So well said. It's working for both of us, I think. So speaking of your audience, you've touched on a bit of who they are already, but I'd like to know more. Like, do you focus primarily on bloggers or individual creators or entrepreneurs? A bit of a mix. Who is your ideal target?
So just like my ideal boy bander is a little bit of the opposite of what most people's are. Like Chris Kirkpatrick is my favorite in NSYNC.
Oh,
I tend to be a contrarian. So
okay.
most people, oh, you got to niche down and I only talk to bloggers, or I only talk to, crafters or Etsy shops or whatever, right? I tend to talk to a lot of different people, but the niche that I have is email. And so I will talk to just about anyone on email, just like, I will talk to just about anyone about my love of NSYNC and why Chris is the best.
Yeah.
It doesn't really matter as long as you're listening. And so my audience, again, it's that diversity, just like Brienne said about, deep down, most people do enjoy a good boy band, right?
Mhm.
Um, I have, I do have a lot of crafters. I have a lot of realtors. I have a rabbi, a nun, and a Baptist pastor in my membership.
Yeah.
I have no idea where these people came from, but I think like Jesse's watching live. He said, people like to hear what other people enjoy in life. I think that just attracts a larger audience. And when I'm niched down to just email, like, sure, I could talk about social media. Yeah, I know a little bit about Etsy. Sure, I know how to get you on a podcast. But really, I'm only going to talk to you about email marketing. And that's kind of how I've niched down. So it's really anyone that feels like email is this thing they're never going to understand and it's kind of above their pay grade, and they'll just get someone when they can finally afford it, they'll just get someone to do it. Those are the people that I want to talk to.
Absolutely. And I think that's something that's so special about marketing in general is that no matter what your business is, whether you are, a nun or a rabbi or you're a crafter or an entrepreneur, like you still need to get the word out about what it is that you do. So I think it keeps things interesting for people like you because you get to mix things up and talk to so many different people from different industries. So that's really cool. I want to talk about the term newsletter for a moment. Speaking of email, and for me, this was a term that used to seem dated a bit. And it's really
Yeah.
interesting to see this resurgence of newsletters. So I'd love to talk about that and just get your perspective. Does every creator, every brand need a newsletter? Or what is it about that term that kind of differentiates it from email in general? Is it the same thing? Is it different? So yeah, can you speak about newsletters a bit?
That is such a great question. I don't know if I've ever been asked that. Wow, she's
Mhm.
coming in with the hits, baby. I love it. Yeah, to me, a newsletter is this sort of, like I'm thinking the church bulletin, right? It's got a couple sections. Here's what's going on. Here's what is available this week. Here's what's coming up, type of thing. But just like boy bands have evolved from, the Beatles, the Jackson 5, NSYNC, what is that? BTS is now really popular.
Mhm.
Um, the newsletter has evolved as well. You like how I segued? That was really good,
That
guys.
was perfect.
um, and so it's more really about just talking to your audience and staying connected, showing that you are invested in them and the vision you have for them more than just a bulletin. A newsletter is not a bulletin. Sure, you can have that, but it's probably not going to convert the same way as if you think of, I'm just going to send this email out and try to connect with these people. I like to think of it as your email addresses aren't email addresses. They're real people. You know,
Right.
Liz is really a real person, really on your email list who opted in, like, really to get more info on XYZ, right? And so, what do I need to say to Liz today in order to get her closer to whatever that is? For me, it's, you make money with email marketing. That's my big vision for you. So I think, what does Jesse need to hear today? Oh, I saw a lot of people clicked last week about, they were really interested in a list building training. So what do I need to say if Jesse clicked on that list building or he wants to know more about list building? What do I need to say directly to Jesse today to make sure
Right.
he feels good and he feels like he's able to do that? And so, yeah, sure, you can have a newsletter, but I would definitely vary the content because you want to be familiar. Oh, I know who Brienne is, but
Mhm.
you don't want to be predictable. Like if she sends us the same newsletter over and over once a month on the first of the month, I know it's coming. Oh yeah, I'm too busy. I know what's inside that. I'm not going to open it. But when you can vary the content, when you can, talk directly to Jesse and what he needs, you're going to be familiar. Oh, I know who Brienne is. Oh, I wonder what she has to say today. And that's a big difference. That's the difference between getting people to just let your email go to page 2 and getting them to open it right away.
I think that's such an important distinction because myself included, I know a lot of creators, we've gotten into this rhythm of sending this weekly or monthly newsletter. And like you said, it's hard to make that convert. It's hard to keep things fresh if it becomes too predictable. So that is great advice to kind of complement that newsletter with other content.
You've got I love that you use the word fresh, by the way. Thank you for setting me up
Fresh
like
to
that.
death.
You have to keep it fresh, right? I mean, and fresh isn't being on every single platform and, also, and oh my gosh, a new social media popped up. Let me get on that. That's not being fresh, right?
Mhm.
We need to be consistent. So, pick the channel, whether it's email, Instagram, whatever, and just learn how to be good on that one channel. If it's email, you're obviously watching or listening to this, you're semi interested. For me, it's all about taking a follower, turning that person, getting them on your list and turning them into a friend. And then once you have a list full of friends, you can basically just say, hey, I created X. We've been talking about X for a while. I created that. Would you be interested in buying it? And you can turn them into customers. I call that the email staircase: follower, friend, customer. Now, how
Ooh.
the heck do we keep it fresh, Liz? How do we, turn people into friends? What does that even mean? For me, it's just 3 things. Number 1, show that you are invested in your craft and show that you are invested in the vision you have for your clients, students, members, whatever. Share that with them. Hey, I really want you to make money with email. I just spent 3 hours reading a book on email deliverability. Or, I really want to make sure I only create crafts that you're going to buy. I just listened to, and, making the brand. I just spent an hour figuring out how to write better emails so they don't go unopened, uh, you know, which is something neither one of us want. I don't want to crowd your inbox, right? Showing
Mhm.
that you're invested in the craft, showing that you're invested in, making sure they get what they want. We all know why they joined the list. We have a freebie, some sort of opt in. We have some mutual interest. We know why they're on the list. And so making sure people know we're invested in getting them to that finish line. Number 2, just be relatable, share in a relatable way. And this does, I mean, Brianne and I are great examples. NSYNC, Backstreet Boys, making the brand. Um, Brianne's welcome sequence, if you're not on her email list, oh my gosh,
Oh,
go get on that list. It's
thank
so hilarious
you.
and awesome. But for me, as a millennial woman, I was like, well, this is the most relatable thing. Like everything
Oh,
she's saying it's making me dying laugh. Like I'm sold. Whatever she's buying, I'm in. Yes, I'm gonna click that link. I'm gonna read that blog post. I'm gonna listen to the podcast. I'm gonna show up live. Because she's very relatable, right?
yeah.
And so when we can be relatable, we get that early buy-in of that know, like, trust. And notice I said relatable. I didn't say interesting. It's hard to be interesting. It's easy to be relatable. People want to relate to other people. There's a reason why we are not lone wolves. We live in communities, cities. I'm talking to Brienne live right now. There's somebody watching live in the chat. We are a communal type of species, right? So it's easy for us to relate even if you don't know anything about NSYNC. So on my I have a one-on-one call. It's called a digital get down. You'll get it if
Of
you get it.
course. Oh my gosh. Epic.
And one of the questions is, it's only 2 questions, and the second one is NSYNC or Backstreet Boys.
Mhm.
And even if you don't like either, suddenly you're relating, right? I've gotten answers, Jackson 5, Prince, Metallica, I've gotten people I've never even heard of that I've gone and Googled before the one-on-one. So we have something to talk about. I'm trying to
Right.
relate to them. And so, even when people don't necessarily like, they're not able to, there's not a direct correlation like, oh yeah, I used to listen to the Backstreet Boys. I can't relate to that.
Mhm.
That was just a little shade. Uh, but even if they don't relate to that, they're suddenly thinking of other musicians that they did like back when they were a teenager, back in high school or whatever, right?
Right.
Even if you said, "Hey, I right before I sat down to write this newsletter, I had to take my dog for a walk. That took way longer than I thought. Suddenly I'm thinking about, oh yeah, in the carpool line today, I saw a guy walking his dog,
Yeah.
right? I mean, that has
Little
nothing to
things.
do. You didn't try to that thought, but it's just so easily relatable. So don't try to be interesting, just try to be relatable and keep it just 2 to 3 sentences, and that's going to be super simple. So again, showing you're investing, sharing in a relatable way, and the third thing, this is where people cringe, but you got to do it. You have to stay top of mind. You can't email today and email in 6 months and expect there to be any sort of friendship, any sort of no like trust. You have to stay top of mind. But when you do these first two things, when you show you're invested, when you share in a very relatable way, it's easier to stay top of mind. You can skip a week if you're just not feeling good. Or, you can send something really short and sweet like, "Hey, I'm really busy. All I got out was the podcast. Click here." Right? Oh my gosh, really busy? You only had time to do one thing this week? That's incredibly relatable. Not very interesting, is it? But oh
Mhm.
my gosh, I'm so there with you.
Yeah.
Hashtag 2022, right?
Mhm.
Um, and so just those 3 things makes emailing and makes, turning people into customers so much easier.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. I have so much to unpack just on all of that. That was brilliant from your staircase to all of this. Yeah. I think what a big theme is with those frameworks and everything you just said is just how sincere it is. Like you sincerely want to help people, you sincerely want to relate to people, you sincerely want to turn them from a follower into a friend. It's just very genuine. And I think a lot of brands, especially, skip that part and they think, oh, someone subscribed. They're ready to get all these sales and all this information and bombard them. But they skip that relationship building. So I'm glad you're here to
Yeah.
help them.
I'm so glad you mentioned that. Yeah, like we are small business owners. We have the advantage. Everybody and their mother knows when Coca-Cola, or some giant brand posts some, you know, ad campaign about social justice or whatever. We all know they're just trying to sell more soda that is actually really bad for us. Like we all know their doctors are, not real doctors, right? Any doctor that's going to say drinking, excessive amounts of cola is fine. We all know that's fake, right?
Mhm.
And so people, the amazing trend we're seeing in the marketplace and the economy right now is people want to buy from people. And so, yeah, what Brienne said about just coming at it from this genuine place and, just even being direct. Hey, I just spent an hour listening to this lady talk about email. I'm going to try to write more or better emails now so I don't waste your time. Um, Boom, that's really genuine, right? And it's actually pretty simple as a small business owner who's very in the weeds of your business, right? You probably have your hands in all buckets to be genuine.
Yeah. I absolutely love that you framed it as an advantage because I think a lot of times small business owners think they are at a disadvantage, that they're never going to catch up. And, there's so much comparison that goes on. But you're right. It's an opportunity to humanize yourself, to even send emails directly from you instead of this faceless brand or corporation. That is just so powerful. And I hope it's inspiring some creators who are listening.
Oh yeah, we have to, th- Coca-Cola, Nike, all these giant brands, they spend millions and millions of dollars trying to appear human. You are human. You ain't got to spend $1. Like you just
Yeah.
got to be you, baby. Like that's
Wow.
it. And people, there's a reason why social media is blown up because people want to connect with other people. It's a real thing and it's a real advantage.
Wow. Yeah, you're speaking right to my soul right now. That is so amazing. So, I want to get into the weeds a little bit with email and talk about frequency and consistency. You mentioned that you can't kind of just fall off and send one email every 6 months, but myself included, I think there's this thing that goes on in our heads where it's like, okay, I want to be top of mind, but am I showing up too much? I consider it, and maybe you agree, I consider it a privilege to have an email address, and I don't see that as a license to spam and to show up constantly. You want to have that balance and make sure you're adding value every time. So, how do we manage that frequency? How much is too much? What are the keys to staying top of mind?
Yeah. So in order to get rid of that, oh my gosh, I don't want to scam people. And it is a privilege. Brianna's 100% right. These people, email works because it's consent based, right? Someone says, yes, Liz, I want to hear from you. And they have the right to take away that consent at any time.
Yes.
So let that latter part kind of relax you a little bit. Like if they don't like it, the door is always open for them to leave, and not in a nasty way. Like if you don't like it, get out of my house. Like hashtag 90s mom. Uh, but in a way of like this, this is an open door and I'm providing this sort of opportunity. This is where the bus is going. But at any point you want to get off the bus, I'm more than happy to hit the brakes and let you off, right? There's a reason why it's illegal to not have an unsubscribe button, right? And we
Mhm.
wouldn't want to just keep people on our list that aren't ready for our transformation, right? Um, but I lost my train of thought. Give me a second. I
Okay.
promise I'll get it back.
Talking about frequency and
It's
consistency
like,
and spam and
oh yeah, yeah. So in thank you. So in your welcome sequence, set the expectation for how often you're going to email and what you're going to email about. This is going to alleviate so much pressure off of you. It's the same as when, you listen to the podcast and someone says, "Hey, on this episode, we're going to talk about XYZ. Here's the guest. Stay tuned, at the end, da 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 da," right? They're setting the expectations. It's like when you go to in high school or university, they hand you the entire syllabus. This is exactly what we're going to learn this semester. These are the assignments and the due dates, right? They set the expectation up front. You have to do that with email, or you and your subscriber are going to feel weird the whole time, right? So you
absolutely.
have to say, I'm going to offer you these kinds of tips, or, whatever. I'm going to email you every Tuesday afternoon with such and such. And you can even get very specific. The content is going to vary between short and long, depending on what soapbox I'm on this week, right? It's add a little personality to it, right? And you might even say, I'm going to email you a few times a month. You don't have to get that specific if you're not that specific. I just truly am. But I mean, I'm the email lady, right? So even just saying I'm going to email you sporadically when I have, something that helps you towards X goal, right? Or when I have a new product to reveal, whatever. Just set the expectation. That way, when you land in their inbox, oh, that's Danny. I know he told me he was going to email a few times a month. Oh, this is his second email that month. Suddenly, Danny is a man of his word. He's doing exactly what he said he was going to do, AKA, oh my gosh, he's building trust by sending an email, not the opposite. And then this is the kicker, y'all. If you learn nothing else from email marketing or about email marketing from Liz, this is the one thing I want you to do in your welcome sequence after listening. Say exactly this: I am going to offer you free and paid products, free and paid services, free and paid resources, whatever words you want to use. Again, we are setting the expectation that this is a marketing channel, right? And people know email is a marketing channel. Look back to Black Friday. Hello. Oh my gosh, right? Some people were abusing it, but we won't go there. But setting that expectation, free and paid products, services, resources, suddenly it flips the switch from, oh, this lady just gave me, this free download or this 50% coupon, to, oh, this is a resource that's going to offer me like free and paid things to move me towards my goal of X. Right. So Brienne and I even have the same earrings on today, or they're from the same maker.
You
Her
do.
name's, I think, Deanne Walsh 03 or something. Shout out to her.
Yes.
And if she started an email list, of course, she's not doing anything but serving our nostalgia, right? And so that's exactly what she would say. I'm going to send you, you know, and she might not even offer anything for free, right? I'll send you free nostalgia in the form of pictures from the 90s. I'm going to offer you paid products like earrings, tumblers, and socks or whatever else she's got on her shop, right?
Yeah.
Suddenly I know exactly what it means to get on the Deanne bus, right? And if I don't like it, then I'm gonna oh no, I just wanted this one pair. I really shouldn't. I'm gonna unsubscribe. Maybe I'll probably come back.
Yeah.
Give 'em my fangirl status. I'll be back. I'll be back. But I really should unsubscribe, right? But we just give them that opportunity again to say, yes, I love these expectations. I'm totally on the same bus. Like, put it in drive. I'm ready to go.
Mhm.
Yeah. So that's the answer to that question.
I have a follow-up question. So same
Okay.
bus or same Winnebago is what I wanna know.
Oh my gosh. Winnebago for sure, for sure. Do you know the story about the Winnebago?
I don't. Please tell
And
it. I know it's an
okay,
NSYNC
y'all,
reference.
we're going on a side field trip here,
Yeah,
folks. We were talking about email,
buckle
now
up.
we're talking about boy bands. So on these women won a Winnebago on The Price is Right, and they took that Winnebago all across the country following NSYNC. And Lance Bass has been trying to make this as like a biopic or mockumentary for like years. I think it's supposed to be in production right now, but I just love that you said that.
Yeah, I was gonna bring it up earlier when you mentioned that you you help market RVs and stuff. I was like, maybe the Winnebago was was in there.
Yeah, yeah.
Too
I
funny.
love the Winnebagos, but I just love that they have an NSYNC tie even more.
Yes, I will be looking out for the biopic, fingers crossed. So okay, people wanna get off the bus. They wanna get off the Winnebago. That is something that I know I have struggled with. I tend to take every unsubscribe personally. I think I've gotten better at it, but it's hard not to. I've gotten to the point where I'm like, I'm just not even gonna check. I don't want to see who and like visualize like, oh, I know that person. They left, dagger in my heart, So what is your philosophy about unsubscribing in general as part of the email journey? Because it's inevitable. It's definitely part of it. So, how should we think about unsubscribing in a healthier way?
Yeah. So, well, Brienne said it best, it's inevitable. It's part of the email journey. And the thing that I love about newsletters or weekly emails that you send out, or even just being consistent a few times a month, is if you feel like you don't have your voice right now, or things are just kind of mishmash, it's like, oh, yeah, Liz, if you go to my website, you see it's very clean, very tight. I always talk about newsletters. I'm only talking about email. If you feel like you're a little all over the place, sending newsletters allow your brand to evolve. They allow you to keep a conversation going with people. And they allow you to lean more into yourself every single time you email. And so when you feel confident, like, oh, yes, this is the best representation of my brand right now, of me, my services, whatever, how I'm feeling. When you feel that confident, when you hit send, remember that confidence. So when you see the unsubs rolling in, you can say, well, that was my best representation. They're just getting off the bus, right? Like I'm going to lean into me. And if they don't like it, then that's okay. Again, not in a negative way, like get out of here. More, I
Mhm.
mean, if that helps you, then, be negative. I don't mind. But really just, letting that door be open and or also being okay with being emotional at first. Email is emotional. It's a much more intimate space than, hitting live on YouTube or something. It feels more personal because it is. So just letting yourself be okay with being emotional at first, not trying to fight it. Again, the same way when you write an email and you try to lean into yourself, just lean into that emotion and you'll get over it much quicker. And the last thing I wanted to say about unsubscribes is they might come back. Most people don't unsubscribe because of you. They unsubscribe because they're just not ready to go to that destination yet, or they might be overloaded. Like, look at, we're recording this at the time right around Black Friday. I've never seen so many Black Friday emails in my life. I just had to, oh yeah, I don't open this email very much. I'm just going to unsubscribe. Maybe I'll be back later. I actually just did a gigantic Black Friday launch, and I had a few people email me and say, hey, I didn't get that welcome email I was promised. And I went in and I looked, and it was because they had unsubscribed 6 months ago. But guess what? They came back. They
Yeah.
came back. It's like, let's say your favorite boy band releases a song, then they release another one, and you're like, oh, I'm just not really into this. I don't like slow jams. I need a bop, right?
Right.
Then you release a bop next time, and oh yeah, guess who's back? Back again. Some of the some of those people will come back. It's not always about you. It might be an overloaded inbox, or I get a lot of cancellations for my membership because they've just given up with their business, or they're offloading it to an agency, or what. It's not always about you. It's rarely a personal thing. So let it feel emotional until you keep doing it, and eventually that emotion will dampen.
Yeah. It doesn't have to make you ill. Sometimes they just have to say bye, bye, bye. It's okay.
Oh my gosh, she's so good. Y'all, if you have not given her a 5-star rating on iTunes, you need to pause this right now. Go over there. Like, this is fire right
Oh
here.
my gosh. I'm having so much fun. Well, speaking of that, everyone, please go follow Liz, lizwilcox.com, and the Liz Wilcox. Oh, it's a tongue twister sometimes. The Liz
Sometimes it is, yeah.
Wilcox on Instagram. I have everything linked. But Liz, one thing you're known for, especially, I think this is the kicker with your services and just helping people be successful, is you help people use email to convert. Like, there's ultimately an end goal. There's a reason we're doing this. There's a reason we're building these audiences, is because we have something to offer. So I would love your best advice for, it's kind of twofold when it comes to conversion. One, how to convert people from a social follower or a website visitor into someone who is excited and wants to get on your list, and also how to convert those subscribers to a potential customer, which you kind of touched on with the latter. But how do we, or with the staircase, I should say. So how do we get people onto our email list?
That's a great question. There's so many ways, and you don't need paid ads. You just need a really great incentive. And for some people, depending on your business, it might just be, I'm offering great tips over here, or I always go deeper on my email list. Join here, especially if you're doing content like TikTok, where it's very surface level, saying, hey, do you want to know more? In my latest newsletter, I went really deep on XYZ, come over and join the newsletter. But in general, you want some kind of freebie. And this is where I got a prop. Hang on. So I like to, again, like, what is that vision you have for your clients? I like to think of it as, your university, like Danny University, Jesse University, Liz Wilcox University. Again, my vision is you're making money with email marketing. So you're walking across Liz U, I hand you, this diploma. It's, email marketing equals cash flow, right? That's it. And so your freebie should take it all the way back to that first day of class. What is that very first foundational piece of information or action taking that they need? Put that into a freebie, and then just start putting it out there in as many places as you can. And I would really say, pick what is fun for you. Okay. You've got to pick something. If you hate doing it, you're not going to put your freebie out there. I love being on podcasts. I love being on video. So anytime anyone asks me to be on a summit, a podcast, a live video like this, I'm like, yes, that is me. Hey, someone is knocking on my upstairs door, which is creeping me out.
Oh,
I'm sure it's something I have to sign for, but I'm going to ignore
you
it.
want to
Hopefully.
take a quick break?
Can we take a break? I'm so
Yeah.
sorry. I think it's my daughter's birthday present, and
Oh
I
my gosh.
shouldn't
Yes.
miss it. Oh,
Go handle
oh
that.
my gosh, this is the crazy. I have like a loft, and I can't believe they're upstairs. I'm
No
so sorry,
worries. It's
friends.
okay.
Okay.
I'm going to chat with Danny and Jesse if they're still
Okay.
here, or I'll just put on NSYNC. It's fine. But this has all been mind blowing so far. I am thinking about now overhauling my entire my entire welcome sequence, my entire email. Um, Yeah, Liz is really making me think. So I hope everyone is enjoying this so far. But yeah, she will be right back. So I guess in the chat, if you're here, please feel free to NSYNC member in the spirit of this. We can have fun with that. But yes, as Liz said, we did get these custom earrings. So you can see mine have AJ McLean on them. Hers, I think, had Joey Fatone. So we're just really sporting and also supporting small businesses today. Oh, we got a present. Awesome. Right?
Yes, awesome. Okay, friends, thanks for interrupting. I guess it shipped as a business, like to my business address.
Oh,
So he needed a signature. Anyway, now that I'm sweating,
it's totally
we
fine.
were we were talking about something important.
Yes, you were talking
You
about converting from social. Yeah,
Oh,
the
yes.
university, Liz University.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So put your freebie out there in fun ways. We don't ever do anything that's not fun. I Thought She Knew is my favorite NSYNC song, Jesse.
Oh.
Um, we don't do anything that's not fun. So if you like to talk, you like to, do videos, those are great avenues, what I was talking about. But if you like to write or you just want something simpler, simple might be just making Pinterest pins and putting yourself on Pinterest. Maybe it's making TikToks or Instagrams and getting people off of social media. Just find a way that feels fun for you and go for it from there. And then to make conversions, friend into customer, really, I've got a few things here. So you should be sending out sales emails and vary your content to be short and long. I kind of talked about this a little bit, but with sales emails in particular, you never want to be sending the same kind of format, the same as you never want to send the same sort of newsletter over and over. And then just always be reminding people of your offers, right? We set the expectation in the welcome sequence to say, hey, I'm going to offer you free and paid stuff. And so, list building, for example, I sent out an email a few months ago that said, hey, repeat after me. Email is a money making activity. And I kind of, went in a little detail. And then it was PS, do you need help building your list in the first place? I have a list building workshop. It's $12. Check it out here. It was a really short email. But it was reminding people of the offers. And then if you're one of those people that's like, oh, I can't sell. Oh my gosh, sales emails, Liz, that seems so crazy. Just add a super signature. That is just at the bottom of every single email. It says, when you're ready, here are some ways we can work together. And then put your offers. So Brianne might say, when you're ready, here's how I can help you. Here are some ways I can help you. Check out my podcast over here. Check me on LinkedIn here. Buy X here, right? And so you can really go into those different ways you help people, whether it's content, again, free or paid. And that's a great way to keep your offers top of mind and not have to sell. It's like a footer of your email.
This is all so actionable. I have so many things to do after this. Thank you, Liz. This is so much wisdom that you're sharing here. Thank you so much. So yeah, any last wisdom to share? I'd love for you to also tell us more about your membership program too.
Oh, wow. Thank you so much.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I think in general, the biggest thing I want people to take away is if email feels complicated, just go back to all those things I was saying, follower, friend, customer. How can I make a friend? How can I talk to that one person that I know needs help with X right now? Right. And then you're going to start to make connections from there and things will start to pick up. All those things about segmenting and funnels and I don't know what else people, telling stories. I like to call those 2.0 strategies. That's for when you really feel comfortable with your list, you're connected to them. So just start simple, with that welcome sequence, some newsletters, and then, a mix of your offerings, like I just shared in that slide. And then my membership, if all else fails, join my membership. Thanks for
Yeah,
bringing it up.
of course.
All the things I've talked about, I realize, for me, it's very simple, right? For me, this is my zone of genius. But I realize a lot of people find it really complicated and they get stalled out by what do they call it? Like blank page syndrome or blinking cursor syndrome.
Yeah.
And so every single week for $9 a month, every single week, I send out a newsletter template designed for all those things I was talking about, designed to show that you are invested in your people, to share in a relatable way and to stay top of mind. I write a newsletter template for all, designed to show all three of those things every single week. It's $9 a month. I call it email marketing membership, hashtag SEO, right? And I just love it. I have almost 3,000 people in the membership. Like I was saying at the top of the hour, lots of different folks. I show you, it's not just a template. I give you a video walkthrough and an explanation on why the heck you would want to send this email in the first place. And then I give you two swipes, so two different A+ examples from different types of businesses. So whether you're, a corporate career coach, or you're a pastor from Georgia, or you have an NSYNC fan blog, or whatever, I give you examples. I read those from different businesses every single week, so you can kind of like boy bands have different harmonies, so it sounds very good. I've made the template so that it gives you a very cohesive look, so you can really understand how the template would actually work for you. $9, baby.
So worth it. So worth it because you're helping people also make a lot more than that by teaching them how to convert and build their list. So Liz, thank you so much. I did want to open it up and see if anyone had any questions that they want to pop in the chat. We have a few minutes. I don't know if Jesse
Yeah.
and Annie are still hanging out with us. Jesse is an NSYNC fan. He shades me sometimes occasionally
I'm
too. We
like,
go
oh,
back and forth.
really?
Yeah. Yeah. So you'll like his
Jesse, what's
things.
your favorite
Yeah.
NSYNC? And Brienne, did you say what your favorite song was?
From NSYNC?
Yeah, do you have one?
I'd have to really think about this. Um, you know, I really like I kind of like ballad NSYNC, to be honest.
Yeah,
Um,
they have a 5-part harmony. It's like, yeah, they can really belt them out sometimes.
I don't know. I mean, the first NSYNC song, I feel like I really, besides like the ones that they had music videos for and were like in the top 40 and everything, I really
Mhm.
loved God Must Have Spent a Little More Time on You. It's
Dude, that song, I forgot how beautiful it was and,
it
like, the meaning
is.
of it. I listened to it, I don't know, it was a few months ago, I was, like, crying. I was like,
Yeah.
"Oh my god." Oh. I was like, "This is
That's
a
so
really
sweet.
moving song for some
Yeah.
teenagers to be singing."
Yeah. Yeah.
Little baby
Good.
Justin.
I know, I know. Let me
Yeah,
think on
yeah.
it some more though. I there probably is another one. I mean, I do love It Makes Me Ill. Um,
That's such a fun one. That's Lance Bass's favorite song.
yeah,
All
it's
the rest of the guys will say, "I Thought She Knew" was is their favorite,
yeah, very
but
underrated.
yeah, well, it's the first song they ever sang together that it was arranged just for them.
Mhm.
Um, and it was how they like learned how to sing together.
Yeah.
And so it has sentimental value also. And they always say like above anything else, we are a singing group. Like we are singers. Like we were not a full group until Lance came in and like had that bass tone.
Lance
And
Bass, Bass.
so yeah, yeah, Lance bass. And so for them, they all say like, "Oh, this is my favorite," except Lance. He's a bit of a contrarian like me. He's like, "Yeah, yeah, I know, but It Makes Me Ill is a
Yeah.
bop." The
Fair, fair.
turtlenecks. Oh my gosh, Jesse, you are my new favorite. Yeah, this I promise you is a stunning, stunning ballad.
It is. I went
Yeah.
to a wedding recently, and that was their first dance. Very like in the 2020s, like a very recent wedding.
Yeah, well, I mean, it stands the test of time for
It
sure. I'm trying
does.
to think of my favorite Backstreet Boys song now. Probably Backstreet's Back. I love a good bop. It's just
Yeah.
I think it's just one of their classics. And it's got a lot of AJ in it, and I
Yes.
love his voice. I love that raspy, like, ooh,
Yes, I know. He's so versatile with that, like, he could do it
he
all, I
is.
think.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
he's a great singer.
yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, thank you for having me.
Oh my gosh,
I
this was so
am
fun.
so excited. Yeah, and if you guys yeah, it's a great wedding song, and if you're interested in seeing what I mean by, like, all these the welcome sequence and newsletters, if you can't really conceptualize it in your head, I invite you to go to lizwilcox.com. You can get an entire welcome sequence already written for you, that, sets those expectations, all those things we were talking about. You also get 3 newsletter examples, one to show you how to get people to click, one to show you how to get people to reply, and one to show you how to get people to buy directly from your newsletter. And if that's not enough, because I know writing from scratch totally, totally sucks, you also get 52 subject lines completely for free. That's lizwilcox.com. Top right hand corner, you'll see a hot pink button. You can't miss it.
Perfect. Everyone head over there. Liz, this was so fun. We'll have to do this again sometime.
Yeah, yeah. This was a lot of fun. Thank
So
you so much
fun.
for having me.
Of course. Talk soon. Thanks, Liz.
Bye,
Bye,
friends.
everyone.